Hello Kotlin lovers, welcome to another episode. My name is Galaxy and today we are gonna talk about the loop in Kotlin. Let's get started. Let me open my Android Studio. Let's create the package. Right click, new, package name, episode 6. Then I'll copy and paste. It's gonna be loop example and remove the unnecessary code from the previous episode. And I'll put this in the manifest, episode 6 loop example, so we can run it. Alright, let's get started. So what is looping? You can loop over something until the condition met. That's called looping. For example, if there are lot of list item to show, then it's very tedious to manually show one by one. In most of the cases, looping is used to iterate over something. If you have a long list, then you can do looping, or you have a list of tabs, then you can use loops. This is the real world example. In Kotlin, we have three kinds of loop, that is for loop, while loop, do-while loop. Let's talk about the for loop. To use for loop, Kotlin has given the keyword for, which is the result keyword, and inside this bracket we can loop. For example, in is for the range 0 to 10. Then we can log.I test $i. Let's run this. The loop has printed 0 to 10. In this loop, the I started with 0, then ends with 10, and you can see here the operator less or equal to and less or equal to 10. So it will loop over this statement. When the condition met, that is less or equal to 10, then the loop will stop. Sometimes we need to break the loop, and for that Kotlin has given break keyword when some condition met. For example, like if I equal to 5, then the loop will end because this condition will meet. Let's run it again. Here you go, 0 to 5, and the loop will end. Alright, I'll give you the more example. Let's create a variable for image list, and I'll create the mutable list string, and then I'll create the array mutable list of, and I'm just gonna copy some link over here. I'll go to this link. I'll put this in the description so you can use it for yourself, and I'll go to the docs section. It's the API which you can use it for free for images. I'll click on it, then it will take me to this page. Then I'll print, check the box, then I'll copy this and paste it, and it will show picture of the dog. So it's the working URL. I'm gonna do that for several times. You can do it by yourself, and I'm just gonna copy this over here. Now we have created the list of images link. Since I have not talked about the list variable in Kotlin in my series, so don't worry about it, just go along with me. I'm gonna talk about it in more detail in the future chapter. A list is a variable in Kotlin which can store a bunch of data, unlike the basic type we have learned before. The basic type can store only one information at a time, but the list can store a bunch of information, and we have used the list over here for the images link URL, which can store a lot of information at a time. So this is the dynamic list of string which is of mutable type. Let's use it. For loop I in image list. Since it will return this URL, I will put here URL, then I'll open the bracket, then I'll log and comma URL link, then I'll run it, and you can see over here it has printed the list of URL. And the other use case we can use it like image list dot for each, then you can also print like this. It's another type of loop extension. $it, you can give just here over here URL. This is just a lambda function, and you can print. Let's run it. Here you can see the URL has been printed. So you can use the for each statement, as well as you can use it like for each with index. Then I'll log it again with some index, then I'll run it. As you can see here, it has printed the index and the URL link. Since the array is always related with its index, so it always start with 0 index this URL, 1 index this URL, and so on. So you can use the for loop like this. So this is the lambda function. In Kotlin you can use it very easily. In the real world project, many of the programmer uses these kind of loops, so I just want to mention it over here. Alright, let's talk about the while loop. And for a while loop, I'll just create a variable var j equal to 0. In Kotlin they have given you the keyword for the while loop, and that keyword is, you guess, while, and you put the condition in this bracket. For example, like j is less or equal to 5, and I'll log it the j while loop j, and I'll increment the j by 1, so it is equivalent to j equal to j plus 1. Alright, I'm just gonna comment out. Now let's see, let's run. The while loop 0 to 5. First of all, the j has 0, and then it will check this condition over here first of all, and j is less than 5. Yes, 0 is less or equal to 5. Then it will print out, then it will increment, then it will just iterate over here and check the condition. 1 is less or equal to 5, then s, then just print out, and so on until it reaches to 5, and it will print out the 5. Then after that 6, and 6 is less or equal to 5, the condition is false, then it will no longer print out. That's how the while loop works. Alright, let's talk about the do-while loop. So in Kotlin, for do-while loop, it has given the keyword do, then at the end you type while, and you give the condition. I will also give the variable over here. Let's say j equal to 5, then I'll say j is less or equal to 5. Maybe I'll put 0, start from 0. Then I'll increase the j or z plus plus. Then I'm gonna log over here to while $j. So I'll run it. Let's see what will happen. It has printed the log. It has started from 0 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. When it comes to looping, just this do while loop iterate no matter whatever the condition, because the condition is at the last. It will enter this loop and then check the condition. Unlike the while loop check the condition before entering to this statement, but the do while loop enters at least once before it checks the condition. So no matter what you put the condition over here, it will iterate at least once. Let me show you. Let me write here 6. Even though I write it 6, the g or z condition has not met, because 6 is not or equal to 5. It should not print. but it will print, because as the nature of do while loop, it just go at least once over this loop, then it checks the condition. Let me show you. Let's run it. Here you can see the do while loop 6 has been printed, even though the condition has not met, because it's the nature of do while loop. So be careful. That's the difference between while loop and the do while loop. Let's print our image list over here to the Android screen using the for loop. Let's do that. I'm gonna use the composable function. As you may have noticed that the composable function is used to display on the screen, so I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna name it display image list, and I'm gonna pass the variable image list, and then I'm gonna use the column. I need to make it composable. Then I'm just gonna write the text loop example, then font size is equal to 20.sp. then I'm gonna just iterate. I'll just bring one of the code from above, so just paste it, and I'm gonna not only print out this log, I'll show you the list of image URL on the Android screen. Since we are going to use the image URL to show on the Android screen, we have to use some library. Let's go to that library. I'll put the link in the description for your use. Then just you head over below, and the Coil stands for coroutine image loader. Since we are going to fetch our URL image link from the networks, and we need this, and we are gonna copy this library. Then let's go to this over here, Gradle script and Gradle build.gradle app. Then just you paste the dependency over here. Once you paste the dependency, you just hit this sync now option, and it will take some time to build. Let's go over here, build, and it will download that library. Once that library is finished to download, we can use it. Alright, the library has been downloaded. So let's go to Android manifest. We need to give internet permission in Android manifest, since we are fetching some URL from the internet. That's why we need to do something like usage permission. Then we need to check for internet, and this is the permission we need to fetch the data, or to fetch your URL in this case. So after this you are done, then head over to your episode 6 loop example. Then you can check the example over here. They have given you async image to load your URL. So let's just copy and paste it, and you need to import it. Import the function async image, which is from this library, coil3.compose, and then just we need to replace this URL with our URL, which we have imported from the public API before. So I'm just gonna use it. I'll just type URL. Then this composable function will show this image list in a column wise. Alright, let's use this composable function. I'll just write over here. For that you need set content, then you need to call this function, and for image list equal to image list, which comes from over here. You just click it, it will take over to your list. it comes from this list. Now let's run it. Let's see, the Gradle is running. You can see here it's building up. Once it is done, it will show our image. It will fetch the image from the network. Just like this. As you can see, it has loaded the image, and you can adjust this image as well using modifier option. Modifier size is 100.dp. that means width and height is 100 dp, and I'll just use the modifier over here as well to modifier dot. I'll keep the padding on the top like 50.dp, say text, and I'll run it again, and this time it will show the images a little bit smaller because our size is 100 and 100. If you want to change it, you can do so. Let me do one more time. Also, you can do many stuff with this library. So this is how we use for loop for our array list. And why do we use Coil image library to load the image from the network? This Coil library is very useful because we are going to use it in the future episode for our Android as well as iOS development, since the Coil library also support for the iOS development as well. In Kotlin Multiplatform, we are gonna use Coil library as well, so it will load our image in the iOS device. I have just given you the hint and you have used it. Let's summarize our code. We have used for loop, while loop, then do while loop, and same while loop to iterate over our URL link list. Then we have shown the images, and that's it guys. I'll see you in the next time. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks for your time.